What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Boxing, aka MKO Pugilism, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok as well, all that good stuff. So, yeah, let's get into this one. So, recently, earlier on in this week, there was a altercation, mainly by Conor Benn, between Conor Benn and Duke Mckenzie. And this was over criticisms Duke Mckenzie had made of Conor Benn, namely from what I've seen, and because I've followed Duke Mackenzie's channel, and I've seen a lot of interviews he's been doing, and the main criticisms he's had of Conor Benn have been regarding the first of all the failed drugs tests, and I think he was critical and was a bit skeptical about the clearing thing and about whether or not Conor Benn had proved his innocence. I think he was in that camp where it was like, okay, you've been quote unquote cleared, but have you really proven your innocence? So he was a bit skeptical of that. And other criticisms he's had for Conor Benn more recently have been about his level in boxing. He's been quite clear in stating that Conor Benn is not really world class. He hasn't really done anything in his career as yet to prove that he's world class. He hasn't really beaten any top welterweights at all. And at the moment, he's in a position where, yes, he's got the victory over Chris Eubank Jr., but Chris Eubank Jr., as we all saw, as is my opinion, and anyone else's who saw the fight, you were fighting a guy that was a shell of himself. Now, that's not Conor Benn's fault. That's Chris Eubank Jr.'s fault for going in the ring. He already won the first fight. He didn't need to go in there again. He could have just left that alone, because even the first fight, you could tell he was struggling. He was a bit of a skeleton, but he was just a bit better in the first fight, whereas the second fight just completely and utterly weight drained. He was just a shell of himself, hardly able to throw punches. So Mckenzie was just pointing out that, listen, yeah, you got that victory, but let's not kid ourselves that that was the best of Chris Eubank Jr. That was a weight drained, bag of bones, or as I think Drew Mckenzie put it. And he's also said that basically, if Conor Benn, goes down to in weight, they were suggesting in, I think it was a Talk Sport or one of those seconds out, one of these guys, they were suggesting that, oh, Conor Benn maybe should have a fight again at 154 and then move down slowly to 147, which is, I said something to the effect myself. And then they started mentioning names there. I think like Virgil Ortiz, definitely Jerome Boots Ennis as well. And Duke Mckenzie was very clear and just said, listen, he wants to avoid Jerome Boots Ennis like the plague. You don't go anywhere near that boy. He said that really and truly, Jerome Boots Ennis's name and Conor Benn's name shouldn't even be mentioned in the same sentence. Which, listen, it sounds harsh, but at the same time, it's true, really, because Jerome Boots Ennis is one of the best fighters in the world. One of the best welterweights when he was at that division. He's not a guy that's really cleaned up any particular division, but he's one of those guys that's definitely world class, definitely one of the top guys, not probably not top 5 or 10 pound for pound, but he's on the cusp of that. He's one of the top guys in boxing at the moment as far as raw talent and everything. He's still proving himself. He's still getting there, but as far as just talent, what he has, I think Mackenzie's right that, yeah, he's not in the same sentence as Conor Benn at all, and it's not a safe fight for Conor Benn. It's one of them that, yeah, if you're managing him, you'd want to steer clear, because Ennis is just on a different level. And I think, yeah, a lot of Mackenzie's criticisms has been around that sort of thing, where he's just simply saying, well, Conor Benn is he's a good fighter, but he's very much a domestic fighter. He's not a proven world-class fighter. He's not a world champion. He, technically is not really even proven he's the best in this country, in England, as yet. So all this talk about, world championship fights, I mean, yes, he can get them on the merits of his name and who he is and all that, and his marketability. Yeah, you can get fights on that basis, but as far as on your merit, no, you're not on the talent level or the skill level to be sort of competitive or be beating anyone at world level. And that's mainly where Duke Mckenzie is coming from. And, in the confrontation, Conor Benn was like, oh, you're talking bleep, you're talking this, and, I got more money than you, I got this, I got that. And, initially Duke Mckenzie tried to shake Conor Benn's hand. Conor Benn wasn't having it. He pushed his hand away. And when you see the video, it's almost like Conor Benn was trying to get physical with Duke Mckenzie and, threatening him. And after the altercation, he was talking about he's going to sue Duke Mckenzie for defamation of character, which is absolute nonsense, because all Duke Mckenzie's done is express his opinion on Conor Benn, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, Conor Benn, you see the altercation. Very, very aggressive. He was coming on the energy as if he wanted to throw hands with Duke Mckenzie. And as far as my view goes, I think it was very silly of Conor Benn to sort of confront Duke Mckenzie like that. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you're in boxing, if you're a boxer, you should have thick skin. You should expect criticism. And when you look at what Duke Mckenzie actually said about Conor Benn, okay, the way he said it, I can understand why Conor Benn took it wrong. But at the end of the day, Duke Mckenzie has valid points. You can't really disagree with what he said, to be real about it. I mean, you put Conor Benn with any top welterweight, even with a Haney, with a Garcia, with any of these guys, he's not going to be favored to beat these guys. Maybe a Barrios, but even Barrios has done things at world level that Conor Benn ain't done yet. So you can't really blame Duke Mckenzie for saying what he did. And I think what Conor Benn done, going up to him, all aggressive and everything, I think it was just silly, it was childish, and it was just immature, because at the end of the day, Duke Mckenzie, like him or hate, the guy's a 3-time world champion. Excuse me. He's one of the better boxers that this country has produced, and he's got the accolades to prove it. Whereas a Conor Benn, yeah, he might talk himself up, but he hasn't got any accolades in comparison to Duke Mckenzie. So a guy like him needs to respect the elders like Duke Mckenzie, and you can't be coming on that aggro like you want to fight the man. The man, Duke Mckenzie, said he's 62 years old. He's not on this fighting energy, and I'm sure Conor Benn would have known that. So what he should have done is just said, I didn't like what you said about me, explain yourself, said it in a more diplomatic, respectful way, and, just let bygones be bygones. Or you try and shut your critics up by actually getting in the ring with the best at welterweight or 154, wherever you think you're going to fit in. You get in there with the best and you prove your critics wrong that way. That's what I would say to him to do. Either you come to the man respectfully, or you show by what you do in the ring. That's my view on it. I think it was really silly and really disrespectful. It's not the type of stuff I like to see, because at the end of the day, Duke Mckenzie, the same sort of age as Nigel Benn, Conor Benn's dad. So, the fact that you're going up to an older fella, an older guy that could be a dad, and you're talking like that, nah, for me, it's not on. So, anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know yours in the comments below. Until next time, it's MKO Boxing, over and out.